Hello everyone. As you all know that we are covering oral questions which are often asked by surveyors in your MMD exams. So with that continuation, I was getting a lot of requests from a lot of people appearing for class 4. So upon after that request, I try to cover a very important topic, that is sprinkler system. There are more advanced systems than this, but we'll focus today on sprinkler system. But still you may find one or two questions pertaining to this in your orals. So without any further ado, let's move on to our today's topic, that is SOLAS requirement for sprinkler system. I have compiled information from SOLAS as well as different resources, that is Marine Insight, compiled together and collectively tried, because there were some information missing on one or two websites. So I have tried and covered everything over here in one go. So let's move. So as we talk about SOLAS requirement for sprinkler system, so they definitely will have this SOLAS requirement for sprinkler system, that for ships, cargo ships which is greater than 2000 gross tonnage, okay, GRT. Now when we talk about machinery space, then that is if it is 500 gross tonnage, so if it is more than 5, it equal to or more than 500 gross tonnage, to have additional firefighting system, we cannot solely depend on this sprinkler system. In addition to that, for machinery space, if it is more than 500, then we need to have additional firefighting system. So now, independent power source, always this is kept in mind, because any emergency sort of thing has to have an independent power source, okay, or connection with the emergency switchboard. Either of the two can be done. If we don't have an emergency power source, then we can have a connection with the emergency switchboard for seawater pump. We'll discuss it, because basically sprinkler system we have fresh water, we also have seawater connection for alarm and detection system, as well as for the freshwater pump. Now as you know, marine environment is a little corrosive in nature, so we have what we call is that the system has to be so designed that it has to have good resistance to corrosion to marine environment, okay. So now system is divided in sections. So when we talk about because it's a water which is flowing in pipeline and it is delivering at the designated location, so we need to talk about what is known as the sections, because so that the pressure can be maintained. The main funda here is of about the pressure. So in order to maintain that pressure, we divide it into sections, and we have 200 sprinkler head in each section, okay. Now each head has separate alarm, different pressure switches, test line, and drainage system is provided. We are draining because if the ship is in colder region or the colder climate, then what happens, then you have chances that the water in the pipeline will freeze. We have different things, we'll talk it further of anti-freeze, dry pipe system and wet pipe system, we'll talk it later on. But we have drainage system for that, that is fixed. Now when we talk about sprinkler head, then the area covered by one sprinkler head is 16 meters square. Heads are spaced not more than 4 meters apart, okay. Two heads, the distance between two heads cannot exceed 4 meters apart, and 2 meters from the vertical bulkhead. From the vertical bulkhead it should be 2 meters, okay. Between two sprinkler head 4 meters, and from the bulkhead to the head it should be 2 meters. Now when we are talking about that sprinkler head, you can have the cross section view of a sprinkler head that we are talking about, that the inlet of water, we have thread by which it is fitted to the pipeline, then we have the valve body, diaphragm, then the cordioid bulb, we have yoke, and then we have the deflector which deflects the water thoroughly. Okay, so whenever we talk about these systems now, whenever you are on board ships, you should always take keen attention, and you always have to pay heed to even small nuances. When you look at all small nuances, all these requirements will come in picture all together. Okay. Now, when I talk about next requirement, that each head is capable of 5 liter per minute discharge. Even I could find on some websites it was written 100 liter. I won't name them, but still. Now, highest head to deliver not less than 4.8 bar. When we talk about the tank capacity and the tank pressure, which is further written, have to have water as well as air, so that the highest head should be able to maintain 4.8 bar. So it has to be so designed, and it has to be kept at that much of optimum pressure. Now, each section of sprinkler shall be capable of being isolated by one stop valve. Okay, each section of sprinkler shall be capable of being isolated by one stop valve. Location of stop valve outside associated section or in cabinet with permanently marked and indicated. Okay, now ये जो stop valve है, this stop valve is given, it is a basically means of isolation. Now this stop valve has to be located outside जिसका भी है, for suppose that for X section the stop valve is there, so it must be located outside X section or in the cabinet, and there has to be a permanent marking and indicated that yes, this is the stop valve. A test valve is also there when we are testing, because as per the SOLAS requirement we have to have in routine, we have to have do this testing. So a test valve besides stop valve is provided in each section for testing alarm of sprinkler by discharging the water. So we are discharging the water and we are testing the sprinkler system. So this test valve is beside the stop valve. Okay, now a gauge is provided. Gauge means pressure gauge we are talking about, at stop valve and at central station for pressure monitoring. So we have two pressure gauge which is provided apart from those alarm and pressure switches. Okay, it should have connection from fire mains with a non-return valve. So whenever we are talking about that seawater system, so we have to have connection from the fire main system, preventing backflow of and with a non-valve arrangement, non-return valve arrangement. So why we are keeping that focus of non-return valve arrangement? Because that need to prevent backflow from sprinkler system to the fire main. The water cannot go from fire main system to the from sprinkler system to the fire main system. So we have this system available in accommodation, paint locker and other spaces on ships. Tank half filled with water and half filled with air, and should supply water for 30 minutes continuously. So it should be so designed that the capacity that it should be able to supply 30 minutes continuously. Head, what we were talking about, I have even shown you the diagram. That head, it's a quadroid bulb. Now we are discussing about it. Burst at certain temperature. Orange 57, red 68, yellow 79. I think 79 is correct. Somewhere in some website you will find yellow as 80 degree Celsius. So whatever we are talking about here is the degree Celsius. So green is 93 and blue is 141. Due to temperature bulb burst. So now you must be having a question that how alarm activates, that yes, sprinkler has started. There has to be an audio and visual alarm. So how this activate? Because due to the rise in the temperature, this bulb which is designed at certain temperature, this burst. Okay, and NRV opens. There is a non-return valve. NRV means non-return valve that opens, and there is a drop in the pressure. So line will have a drop in the pressure. So which is associated with a system. So this drop in the pressure is sensed, and then again this drop in the pressure is then taken into account, and which gives an alarm that such a system has alarm in the system. Now this is connected with seawater system. In case water in the tank level goes down, seawater can be supplied. So this is connected with the seawater system. In case the water in the tank level goes down, seawater can be supplied. Okay, we have control plans with diagrams and operating procedure to be displayed at central stations. Okay, this has to be placed. It's self-explanatory. Now when we talk about, this is an antifreeze system. A wet pipe sprinkler system, because in wet pipe there are chances that the water will freeze, employing automatic sprinkler attached to a piping system containing an anti-freeze solution. We have an anti-freeze solution so that ship which is sailing in areas where the water the temperature is quite low, so that the water freezes, connected with the water supply. The antifreeze solution is discharged followed by water immediately upon operation of sprinkler opened by heat from a fire. So this is the antifreeze system that is also installed. Piping not to be used for any other purpose. I'm sorry that spelling is misspelled here for. So piping not to be used for any other purpose. Sufficient spares to be available on board. So we need to have spares which has to be available on board sufficiently for all these heads. Now we have two type of system associated with it. One is a wet pipe system, the other one is dry pipe system. So when we talk about wet pipe system, a sprinkler system employing automatic sprinklers attached to a piping system containing water and connected to the water supply, so that water discharges immediately, because till the head of the bulb above the diaphragm, the diagram that I showed, the water is available till there. As soon as the bulb breaks, the water continuously immediately and continuously starts flowing. Now, dry pipe system, when we talk about, it's a sprinkler system employing automatic sprinklers attached to a piping system containing air or nitrogen under pressure. So we have air or the nitrogen under pressure, the release of which, as from the opening of a sprinkler, permits the water pressure to open a valve known as dry pipe valve. So now this dry pipe valves open, the water then flows into the piping system and out of the open sprinklers. Okay, now we have in this dry pipe system, we have filled with what is known as nitrogen or the air. Okay, so we have one valve which permits the water pressure to open the valve known as dry pipe valve. The water then flows into the piping system and out opened for the sprinkler to go ahead. Okay, so this is the actual head what we were talking about. I hope all these wet pipe system, dry pipe system, anti-freeze, whatever is there, control to be there, how much area it is covering, for how much time it is, temperature for the quadroid bulb, seawater system as well as freshwater system. Okay, test valve is there, drainage system is there, how many sprinkler head to be available. Okay, at highest available point, that what has to be the pressure, and head is capacity, means how much liter it can discharge. Okay, so for what all ships it is required, how much area one head is covering, all these points we have very minutely and finely covered. Okay, so I thank you for your patience listening, and wish you all the best for your exams. Please do comment your feedback so that we can improvise further. Thank you so much.